The sky stretched wide and burning over the Wyoming prairie, the last of the sun spilling gold over the hills and turning the grass a deep rust color. Wind stirred the dust in lazy swirls, carrying with it the faint cluck of chickens and the occasional low moo from the barn. The Carter ranch sat small and proud in the open land, its paint peeling but its fences straight. It was quiet, except for the creak of porch boards under the weight of Jed Carter's boots. Jed stood on his porch, shoulders square, chin freshly shaved, a rare occasion. He wore a clean white shirt tucked into his best trousers and held a bunch of wildflowers, the kind that bloomed in the ditches, clutched awkwardly in his calloused hand. His eyes scanned the horizon, locking onto the barely visible trail where the stagecoach from town would pass. In his other hand, a letter, well worn, folded and unfolded so many times it might have crumbled if it weren't for how carefully he handled it. The words inside were etched into his memory, but still, he carried it like a promise. She said 6 o'clock, he muttered, glancing at the sun. Train rolls in, she boards the coach, and by supper she'll be here. Jed had never met Clara in person. They'd exchanged letters for a year, honest ones, his about life on the ranch, her about dreams of a quieter life and escaping a troubled past. She was a widow, same as he was. Both of them lonely, both tired of waiting for life to surprise them. The wind picked up, and with it came the distant creak of wheels. Jed straightened up, tossed the wildflowers from one hand to the other, and stepped down from the porch. A dog barked twice, then sat, tail thumping with excitement. Dust kicked up on the road, and soon, a wagon came into view, but not the sleek, curtained kind that might carry a lady from the train. No, this wagon was rough-built, with one wheel listing slightly to the side and patched canvas stretched over the top. And instead of one woman, there were 7 figures in the back. Children, all of them. Jed blinked. The wagon rolled to a stop in front of him. The oldest, a girl maybe 13, climbed down first. She wore a faded calico dress, too short at the sleeves and muddy at the hem. Her hair was braided back neatly, but her face bore the dirt and wear of a long trip. The rest stayed in the wagon, one sucking his thumb, 2 clutching each other, a toddler asleep in the crook of another girl's arm. The girl stepped forward, her small hand clutching a folded piece of paper. "Are you Mr. Carter?" she asked. "I am," Jed said slowly, his brows already drawing together. She offered the paper. "Ma said you were kind. She said we should come here. This is for you." He took the note and unfolded it, fingers trembling. The handwriting was unmistakable. "Clarice. Greater than Jed. I'm sorry. I can't come. Life's too hard, and I'm too broken. These children need someone better than me. If you meant half of what you said in your letters, please give them a chance. Clara." Jed stared at the words. Then at the children. Dirt-smudged cheeks, thin arms. One boy peered around the canvas flap and sneezed loudly, prompting a small round of giggles. The silence was thick. The wind shifted, tugging the note in his hand. He looked down at the flowers, then back at the children. The girl stood tall, waiting, not begging, not crying, just waiting for his verdict like someone who'd already been let down too many times to expect much. The ranch house, once still and silent as a tomb, now rang with a kind of chaos Jed Carter hadn't experienced in decades, if ever. The front door, usually shut tight to keep out dust, hung wide open. A soft breeze wafted in the scent of stew, hay, and something else, children. Noise. Life. Jed stood frozen. In the center of his small kitchen, a baby perched awkwardly on one hip, a wooden spoon clutched in his free hand like a man holding a weapon he didn't know how to use. The baby, cheeks rosy and hair standing up in all directions, blinked at him with wide brown eyes and made a low, curious grunt. In the corner, 2 boys chased the ranch dog, laughing and hollering, while the mutt, clearly overwhelmed, weaved under the table and knocked over a tin pail. A toddler waddled past with no clear destination, dragging one of Jed's boots behind her. On the far side of the room, Emma, the oldest girl, calm amid the storm, stirred a pot of stew on the stove with the practiced movements of someone who'd done it 100 times. Jed glanced around as if searching for an exit, but the only door was blocked by a 4-year-old who had somehow climbed onto the counter and was chewing on a potato. "This your house?" asked one of the boys, Will, 9 years old and already full of opinions. "It smells funny." Jed blinked. "That's the smell of cowhide and solitude, son." Will wrinkled his nose. "Smells like sadness." A sharp laugh escaped before Jed could stop it. He shook his head, half amused, half mortified. He adjusted the baby on his hip. The child let out a wet sneeze on his clean shirt. Emma turned from the stove, brushing a loose strand of hair behind her ear. "We can pull our weight. We ain't looking for charity. We know how to work. Ma taught us to take care of ourselves." Jed studied her, tall for her age, eyes too serious, her shoulders tight with responsibility. She wasn't begging either. She was stating facts, making an offer. He sighed and looked around again. The kitchen was a mess. His floor was covered in muddy footprints. Someone had tried to pet the cat with molasses-covered fingers. His once quiet life was in shambles, and for some reason, it didn't feel wrong. I was fixin' on a wife, he said at last, voice gruff. Not a herd of children. Emma didn't flinch. We won't be trouble, mister. Jed looked at her, then down at the baby, who had managed to tangle tiny fingers in his beard. His lips twitched, something close to a smile threatening to show. You can call me Jed, he said quietly. Emma nodded. All right, Jed. He exhaled deeply and ran a hand down his face, careful not to drop the child. First thing tomorrow, he said, we set some rules. Chores. Order. You all like chores. The children groaned in unison. One shouted, no. Another slipped on a spilled biscuit and landed in a heap, laughing. Jed chuckled under his breath. That's what I thought. The room settled for just a moment. Emma turned back to the stove, giving the stew another stir. The baby on Jed's hip yawned and leaned into his chest. Somewhere outside, the dog barked once and then lay down for good, deciding not to try outrunning small humans again. For the first time in years, the house felt full, not just of sound, but of something deeper. It wasn't what Jed had asked for. But maybe, just maybe, it was what he needed.